Well, today's episode is going to be an interesting one. We have ChocoPro 307, which is, of course, known as the OB 13th anniversary. Now, those who don't know, this marks the 13th anniversary of Sayaka Obihiro as a pro wrestler. So she will be in the main event teaming up with her Uma Army buddy, Kojio. And of course, we have, of course, the latest New Japan show called Wrestling Satsuma no Kuni, featuring two title matches. The first one is going to feature the IWGP Tag Team Champions between two different tag teams, native from Australia. We're talking about TMDK and Aussie Open. And of course, our main event is the KOPW Championship in a triad match, which I have to say this is one of the most brutal matches I have ever got to witness. And of course, we cap things up with NWA USA. As you know, we're still talking more about the Crockett Cup, but we got some interesting matches that were set upon on this one. And finally, some news updates to tell. As you know, we already had the Stardom show, but my attention was now caught by Suzu Suzuki. And then, of course, we have several other things we definitely going to be talking about. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay, right here. So, excuse me. Let's begin with ChocoPro 307, better known as the OB 13th Wrestling Anniversary. Our opening match, we have the guys from Thailand, Set Up Pro Wrestling. We're talking about Andrew Tang and Shivam taking on Masahiro Takanashi and Balanaki. Now, however, apparently Shivam is here for one particular reason. It's Masahiro Takanashi has something that belongs to him, and that is, of course, the Set Up Pro Wrestling Openweight Championship that he won from him a couple of months ago. So basically, Shivam wants it back, but the obvious thing is, will he get it? Well, as you know, the rule of thumb, if you pin the champion, there is a strong possibility you will have a championship thing. So basically, Masahiro knows what's at stake. He knows that the fact is that Shivam is targeting him. He had to be more careful. However, it wasn't enough. Even Balinaki couldn't stop it. No matter how hard he tried to save him, Shivam pinned Masa to give him another opportunity. Apparently, that match now has been set for Monday, which is going to be exciting to hear. It's going to take place on May 1st. I believe that's the day. But yeah, that's a good match. Next up, we have Sayaka and Chi Koshikawa. They take on the Killer Queens, none other than the Big Apple, Mei Shruga, and Emi Sakura. Now, this is a pretty good match, I have to say, because I've witnessed both Chi and Sayaka how they are so good as a tag team. They've grown together. They are part of the same generational group together, the fourth generation. I thought this match was going to pretty could pull an upset. I know if you guys follow ChocoPro a lot, Chi and Mei Suga had like some sort of a rivalry, like who will be standing out as the ace of the promotion. I think that's always played out pretty well. But however, it was Emi Sakura who was able to pick up the win when she applied the Queen Gambit onto Sayaka, giving them the win. In our main event, we have Black Komachi, consistent of Antonio Honda and Tokiko Kirihara, taking on Kojio and, of course, the birthday girl herself, Sayaka Obihiro. Now, Kojio decided to be the one to start up the match. It was one of those moments where you're punching the person, you're like, ow, it hurts. It's always been like that. Even Kojio's like, It's not gonna work. So basically, the common threat was Kojio, but it did not stop him no matter what took place. But uh, excuse me. But out of nowhere, we have um, Sayaka Obihiro pinning Antonio Honda, giving him the match. So I thought this was a pretty good one. I thought it was appropriate for a perfect win for her because since it is her anniversary show. But the obvious thing does tell us if she was able to win this match, could she possibly win the jogging tournament? Well, let's be fair. I did saw she made it all the way to the finals. She went through everyone, but the person who won the chocolate is none other than Antonio Honda. This was like people even booed at Antonio Honda because they wanted Sayaka to win, but fortunately it did not go. But some interesting developments after this event, prior before we get to the next ChocoPro show that we will review at the next episode. Sayaka Obihiro got injured. She will be unable to participate in 308. However, they did announce that Shon Chidu will be taking her place. So hopefully she gets a speedy recovery. Can't wait to see what they're going to do in 308. So I think that's pretty much it right now with ChocoPro. Let's move on with New Japan. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling with Wrestling Satuma uh, Satuma no Kinu. This one is a very interesting name. I can hopefully I pronounce it right. If not, then there we have it. Now our opening match, we have Bolton Oleg teaming up with none other than Toru. They take on the members of Bushiman, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now you probably can guess that this match was gonna fall in favor of Bushiman because the X factor in this match is the young lion Oleg, who always seems the one to be ended up losing. It did ended with, of course, him being on the wrong side of the Shoto. 1, 2, 3. It was overpinned by Hiroki Goto, and it was done. Next match, we got um, Oscar Lobe, this time teaming with the Roughneck Shota Umino. Well, they take on members of the House of Torture, consistent of Yujiro Takahashi and Evil. Now, it takes to me, if you guys have followed House of Torture, these guys are the most hated faction in New Japan Pro Wrestling because they like to cut corners, cheat whenever to throw. That's exactly what happened. The first time Sho and Big Togo got their butts handed to them by Umino, but the second time it did not work. Apparently, they got away with it by knocking out Lube. Then, of course, Yujiro applying the pimp juice, giving them the win. Next up, we have the United Empire, consisting of Aaron Hinare and the former junior heavyweight tag team champions, Catch 22's Francisco Cara and TJP. Now, you know for a fact these guys are pissed. They're not in a good mood, knowing that they lost their tag titles against their opponents. We're talking about Tomoaki Hamna and, of course, the Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. You know they will want anything to do to get revenge, but however, they got to be prepared coming up for the upcoming Best of the Super Juniors, which is something we definitely going to be seeing soon. But the match was pretty well. There was a good moments between Hamna and Hinare, but Hinare was able to apply a full Nelson lock onto Hamna, forcing him to tap out. Now, the other members of the United Empire, Great Khan and Jeff Cobb, take on the members of TMDK. We're talking about the young lion, Kosei Fujita, and the frontman, uh, Zack Sabre Jr. Now, this is a preview match before Wrestling Dodaku, as you know, because of the deal that Zack Sabre Jr. made. If Aussie Open are willing to accept the challenges by TMDK members, Nichols and Haste, then Zack Sabre Jr. has to put his IWGP World Television title on the line. So that's something that he has considered. Now, the match itself was pretty good. There was some good moments with Fujita applying the techniques that Zack Sabre Jr. has applied, but however, because of how strong and dominant Great-O-Khan did. It was unable to kick out the submission move, the Iron Claw, and it was over right from there. But however, Zack Sabre Jr. says, you may have gained some pounds, Jeff Cobb, but it doesn't mean anything. So you know for a fact the best technician in the world, you know that he's going to figure something out. Next up, we have Rohi Oiwa teaming with Togi Makabe and the members of Chaos, Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada. They take on the members of Young Line, Yuto Nakashima, and of course Strong Style, consistent of El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki, and Ren Narita. Now this is going to be a full-blown balls-to-walls match. Besides, we have already witnessed several times between Ishii and Desperado, they cannot stop standing each other. You know the Despy, who is a very strong, capable wrestler, he's not going to back down from a fight. But it was, of course, Ren Narita with the Cobra Clutch onto Rohi Oiwa, forcing him to tap out. But the obvious thing is, can Kazuchika Okada overcome the next upcoming matches? Because he will be facing all three members of Strong Style. But he must find a third that may be able to dethrone Strong Style. We will see until then, until that happens. Next up, we got the members of Bullet Club, Gedo, Taiji Shimuri, Kenta, and David Finlay taking on Master Wato, GOD, consistent of Yado, Hikuleo, and Tama Tonga. Now, we all know there's some previews in these type of matches. Kenta will be defending his strong openweight title against Hikuleo in Wrestling Dondaku. And as for Tama, he will be defending the never openweight title against David Finlay. So it does tell us a pretty good moment, but one thing it led for Tama Tonga is making the perfect gun stun to put away Gedo, and then boom, right from there. But however, we always see this all the time. We see a Bullet Club beat down, beating up their opponents. And of course, Finlay, he will not let this stand how it's going to be, but we'll see when we get to Wrestling Dondaku. Next up, we got LIJ Bushi, Tetsuya Naito, and Hiromu Takahashi taking on just five guys with Doiki, Kanemaru, and Sanada. Now, we know that Hiromu has won against Kanemaru to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, but however, his next goal is to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title. As you know, he has a big ambition. He has faced heavyweights in the past. He was able to defeat his former teammate Evil, but will he do the same thing with Sanada? As you know, Sanada has fulfilled his dreams to become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Well, apparently Sanada gave a very clear message to Hiromu when he applied the skull end onto Bushi. We'll just see what happens then. Now, this is one of two championship matches. We have the IWGP Tag Team titles. We have TMDK, Shane Hayes and Micah Nichols taking on Aussie Open. This is the battle of the showdown of the Aussies. Basically, all four of these men are Australian native. I thought this match was pretty good. I think it showed, okay, we know that TMDK, Hayes, and Nichols have been together for far too long, and they're an effective tag team. But you see, Aussie Open, they have shown how effective they can be. My surprise, TMDK applied his Coriolis onto, who was it he applied on? I think he applied it on Kyle Fletcher, but of course this was going to end with the Coriolis by Aussie Open onto who was it they did it onto Haste. But as soon as the match was over in the post match, here comes Bishamon, who most likely wants to have another crack at Aussie Open. But however, everyone was beaten down by none other than House of Torture, who felt that they told them that the tag titles belonged to them. But of course, I don't know what Aussie will do, but they did state it in their post-match comment that they feel that these guys were trying to cut in front of the line. That is something I know for a fact is not going to slide, but we'll see what takes place after that. Now, our main event, I have to say this one was one of the most brutal matches that Taichi has ever been in. He takes on Shingo Takagi for the KOPW Championship. I thought this match was so brutal, but I think the best moment for me is the end of this match when Taichi had Shingo in a submission move, but he was no moving now. However, Hiromu wanted to throw the towel, but he was conflicted. Should I throw the towel? Should I not? So basically, there was moments he tried to encourage Shingo, get up, get up, get up. It didn't work out. Apparently, the ref made the only choice that he thought was logical, was to stop it, and the match goes straight to Taichi. And that means we only have 2 championships now by just 5 guys. So I thought that was pretty great. So basically, we now see how just 5 guys are making a much bigger impact. I need to get myself just 5 guys shirt. I should, you know? But anyway, that's pretty much it right now with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's move on with our last review, NWA USA. Okay, our final review is NWA USA. Our opening match features Rush Freeman taking on Damage. Now, well, the name Damage is exploratory, you know what I mean? But Russ Freeman has no a way to try to take him down on his own. Even his big little brother, Rolando, tried to tell him to do something, but he ignored it. But unfortunately, I don't know exactly what Damage Plan did. It looked more like a spine buster, um, but it did put him away to pick up the win. Now I don't know if Damage, along with his tag partner, do have an opportunity to qualify for the Crockett Cup. We don't know yet. However, speaking of the Crockett Cup, May Valentine interviews our current NWA United States Tag Team Champions, the Country Gentlemen. Now, according to what May Valentine revealed, the Country Gentlemen are, in fact, automatically in the Crockett Cup. But they are now determined to see if they can capture the NWA World Tag Team titles. So the only logical conclusion AJ Gonzalez tells to his cousin Anthony Andrews, they must win the whole damn thing. And that's something they have to put their focus on. Now our next match is our somewhat of a singles debut with Kenzie Page taking on Sierra. Now Kenzie Page having Kylie Page, my bad. Kylie Page, the younger sister of our current NWA Women's World Television Champion, Kenzie. Kylie makes her debut as a singles competitor. Last time we saw her, she teamed up with PJ Hawks, but she had her little goo little eyes all over him, but did not win the match. But this time she has to put her effort against Sierra, but it was very impressive win for her. Joe Galli messed up on the finisher. He called it a Canadian Destroyer, but from my point of view, I don't know if anybody if you guys ever seen it. It looked more like a Code Red, but I think it was Tim Storm that calls it a Code Kylie. So I like the sound of it. Now, more on the Crockett Cup, as you know. May Valentine interviews Kratos. The obvious question does remain, is he involved in the upcoming Crockett Cup? Well, he said he found himself a tag partner, and that partner is none other than Odison. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, our next interview, we have the Savages, consistent of Jack Stain and Bulletproof Troop, who are already in the Crockett Cup, so they receive congratulations. All they got to do is also do the same thing, win the whole damn thing. Now, our main event, it features Magic Jake Dumas versus Mercurio versus PJ Hawks. Now, majority of the time we see Mercurio and Jake try to team up against PJ Hawks. So PJ Hawks had his work cut out because he had to deal with 2 guys that were teaming up. But, you know, for the fact at some point their little partnership was going to dissolve and ended badly. However, Mercurio had this match won, but he had his Google eyes onto CJ and apparently Dumas pinned PJ Hawks, winning the match. So I don't know what he was doing, but we will see more. As you know, we are going to probably continue with more of the Crockett Cup in the upcoming Power show. So we'll see what happens then. But for now, we'll just end it right here and move on to what we do next. That is news updates. news updates. As you know, as we speak, Suzu Suzuki has been making her appearance now at the Golden Week for Stardom. As you know, she is aiming to be the face of pro wrestling, especially the Yoshi wrestling. She has a specific title in mind, and that title is none other than the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, it's kind of funny not funny because she's in it, funny because not too long ago, Sari, or as we know her, Saray, wanted that title, but Rossi did state it. Come to a show and you check it out, and maybe we'll work something out. Looks more like Zuzu did exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to, of course, aim big. Now, the obvious question does tell, what will Julia make of this? We know there's been people talking about her, saying that there's the strong possibility she could join DDM. That is something we haven't seen yet, but we do know, those who remember in the previous news updates, Zuzu, along with her tag partner May Saria, may will come across Julia and Tekla down the line. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that Julia would try to extend the offer for her to join. We'll just wait and see what happens then. Now, House of Glory has announced for a big debut coming up on the 16th of June, and that is, of course, a luchador and of course, our current AAA Mega Champion, Hijo del Vikingo. He will be making his debut. I'm so excited for that. That's going to be a killer match. New promotion: Spark Joshi Puroresu of America has announced for the Ignite East on the 11th of June. Billy Starks will be making her appearance, so if you guys are anywhere in the New Jersey area, now you know where you're going to be. Interesting developments took place in Pro Wrestling Noah recently. A fan comes out calling out Kiyomiya, saying, "Aren't you the savior of Pro Wrestling Noah?" Now, there's been a lot of talk. People are saying, was this thing with the fan was a shoot or a work? To me, it felt like like an actual shoot, like people are now talking this obvious that Okada has broken the fan base with what he did to Kiyomiya at the Keiji Muto event. If you guys remember, Kiyomiya wanted a match against him and he lost sensibly, but in the process, he lost the later on the GHC heavyweight championship to Jake Lee. So basically, that's what whole thing. I don't know exactly what's been happening. Hopefully, there's more information, but you can see this on their Twitter page. So it's kind of interesting how this go on. Now our final report. Now, as you know, for the what took place at AEW Dynamite, we saw the debut of none other than Roderick Strong. Now, PW Insider put this out today about very interesting about what they've discovered about. This was done by Mike Johnson. This is what he had reported. Strong's WWE deal expired last November. So there were rumors of possibility contract expansion in the past, but it did not happen at all because he left NXT WWE. But it was noted that WWE did not announce that of his departure or his contract ending. So basically, it was all kept quiet. But it did give AEW right away to try to come up with the deal. Now, it was reported that Strong and AEW were, how to say, quietly discussing uh, when this was going to happen. They wanted to time Strong's debut completely, as you know, because as you know, Roderick Strong lives in Florida. They were going to do a show in Florida, so it fit perfectly. So everything was done quiet under the rug, and I'm surprised, and I have to say, this was pretty good. But according to what we know, only 7 wrestlers were aware that this was going to happen. Um, Tony Khan, several producers, the music techs, security guards, they were fully aware that, of course, Roderick Strong was going to be there. So I have to say it was a pretty good what they were doing, trying to get everything done for him. So we'll see how this thing between Roderick Strong is going to be now in AEW. I'm sure everybody's going to wait for the one thing we're going to expect, which is, of course, uh, the Undisputed come back. We'll see what happens then. For now, let's just end it right here and call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, um, as you know, we have more on the Unagi Sayaka watch. Very interesting developments on matches, upcoming matches, and some things I definitely going to be talking about. Some things are serious that we're definitely going to be. But as for our next episode, I know we got ChocoPro 308. I haven't decided yet, but I did state it that I haven't seen the rest of the GCW events. So we'll get to those as soon as possible if there's anything else. But as we speak, we do got more on the Stardom shows taking place as Golden Week started. Um, some things are interesting. And I will be releasing a separate video talking about something that took place at the Bushi Road fight um, cross Pro Wrestling Wave, which was declared as the last official match for Himeka. So that's going to be interesting. I think that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.